One of the things that the county combined authority has been doing, and I've been chairing this, it's pulling together an East Midlands strategic place narrative, because actually recognition that actually as a region, perhaps that identity has not been that clear, particularly the further south that you go. But I think the East Midlands is starting to, but there's greater opportunity around establishing it with sort of areas of national significance. So I think logistics, all the stuff that's happening around the airport, it's becoming a national hub for logistics. I think there's a great opportunity around AI, data, digital, and of course you've seen some announcements around data centres across the East Midlands. I think that's really a really positive development. I think you've still got re-emerging opportunities around things like textiles in Leicester and Leicestershire. I was only talking to a potential investor who's looking at Leicester and Leicestershire and textiles. That had a huge tradition in Leicester and Leicestershire around that. So really interesting to see people going, I'm thinking of investing in a new factory to do this. And you think, that's brilliant. So, and then I think there's one of the failed opportunities for the East Midlands, completely out of its control, was HS2. We, as a chamber, we were very pro the economic benefits of HS2. I would never comment on the route. Absolutely not qualified to do that. We had some members that were very, particularly where the route was going through the middle of commercial property and all the difficulties that brought. But on the surface, actually having that running through the East Midlands with train stations, but then the regional mayor's pulling together a very ambitious transport plan. I think there's an opportunity around something of national significance around clean energy. We've got the Ratcliffe-on-Soar power station that's been decommissioned or in the process of being decommissioned. Something around alternative energy sources. There's been lots of discussions about that. So I think there's some really big opportunities. It feels like they're all starting to gain momentum all at the same time. And I think sites like East Midlands Freeport are absolutely essential in terms of, drawing in investment from overseas. They're not about displacement, it's about new investment. And having that site literally on the within the footprint of the airport, in part, clearly makes sense to be able to do that. If you look forward, perhaps 3-4 years, the East Midlands should look and feel very different to what it does today.